In this video, guys, we're going to look at what's the next sector that might get a strong bid. Stay tuned. Hey guys, warm welcome to you. Alright, so what's the next sector that might get a strong bid? I've recently done a video on the Robinhood phenomenon, where we see a lot of retail traders coming in and driving a lot of stocks to highs. Now, bearing that in mind, can we think ahead of the curve and think, okay, what's the next stock, what's the next sector, what's the next thing that might see a bit of a bid? And number one, how can we kind of tell that it is actually starting to happen, and how can we take advantage of it and profit from it? So if we have a look at the screens now, I've got a few from the cannabis sector. Now, this is purely speculation, don't have anything to back this up with whatsoever, but I'm just thinking, okay, we've seen a lot of stocks that have, if we think of the Robinhood demographic, you know, a lot of these people are younger traders. They're just getting in for the first time. They've got, we know the account sizes are between kind of 1 and 5,000, and they're playing the markets because, let's be honest, guys, the markets are a fun thing to do, even if you don't want to become a professional trader. You know, it's a way of them speculating and investing and whatever they like to do. So, you know, a lot of these accounts have driven a lot of other stocks up. We did a video which is probably uploaded now. If it hasn't been already, go and make sure you're subscribed to be notified of that. But we're talking about Hertz and how that bankrupt stock got a rally, and that was purely based on the popularity between retail traders. No institution trader is going to buy a bankrupt stock. Went up to $6, went back again, and we've seen this drive a lot of other stocks. Anyway, the point is, if we think there's another driver of stocks and markets, and we think that it is, and this is a broad assumption, but we've got to kind of sometimes theorize this thing and be prepared and plan for these eventualities. If we think that perhaps there's going to be another sector that gets excited and gets frothy and gets a lot of money piling into it, then, you know, what could that be? And one of the ones that I think is on my list of potential ones that seems to be beaten down quite a lot at the moment is the cannabis sector. You know, that was really spicy for a while if we go to CJC, which I think is probably the most legitimate out of all of them. Now, there's an argument to say these are overvalued, and I'm not going to disagree with you. I'm not really looking at valuation. I don't really care, I'm not investing in this, but you know, this to me is the type of company that if it gets some good, not company, but sector, and it will probably be a few companies from it, and they're probably going to be the lower price ones. It's probably going to be the smaller cap ones, because that is the ones that tend to get the hype amongst the bulletin boards, amongst the forums, amongst the Robinhood crowd, amongst the retail traders, and they're the ones that actually can move price aggressively, because if it's a big, large cap stock, you know, even a massive bunch of smaller accounts aren't even going to put a dent in the stock because of the liquidity and the market cap. Whereas if a smaller market cap, less liquid, you know, you are going to see big moves from people with smaller accounts just in volume. That's how the markets work. So stuff like this may be worth keeping an eye on. Now, these have been stagnating, and we know they had a lot of hype years ago, and we kind of did some videos that talked about this, the hype pushing up, attempts to push at highs. Since then, pushing back as the froth has kind of gone off the cannabis market. You know, there's some, we don't disagree. I don't think anyone's in any doubt that there's some change in sentiment and trend to this, a legalization and the medicinal uses of whatever it may be. But putting that to one side, that's gone off the boil a little bit. Obviously, we've had the coronavirus coming out in March, and that's the coronavirus low. But, you know, these possibly, when we get through the back end of this, maybe this is going to come up to the forefront of legislation again and to ideas. And it's only going to take some good news around the industry to pop and really get some of these going. You know, we had this ACB, for example, you know, pushed up aggressively here. It's kind of run out of steam a bit now, and you can see that the volume's dipped off, and it had its chance to have another leg, and it seems to me like it's just kind of drifting and floating back. But these are the kind of companies, guys, that are worth having on your radar for extreme moves. This nearly started to get going. If this is to really start to squeeze, and then we kind of, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, because as it squeezes, it gets more PR, gets more press coverage, it gets momentum, it gets more retail traders seeing it and buying it, gets more following, and it squeezes and squeezes and squeezes. When that perfect storm happens, that's when I'm interested. When we get the initial squeeze, not interested. Then when we kind of pull back and we get more press, we get more interest, we got all the stuff we just talked about, then you can look for the trade. Then you can look for the kind of momentum move, but being very aware of who the counterparty is, or who the other side of the deal is, who's going to come out first. But these are the kind of things that can go and squeeze and squeeze. Now, am I suggesting that it's definitely going to be cannabis? No, I'm really just theorizing here and thinking out loud. And let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, guys, what you think. Where's the next sector? I'm just thinking this because it's of the type of product it is, of the sector we're in, of the type of demographic that could be fueling the smaller cap buys. And listen, they're completely off the mark here and completely wrong, but I thought I'd share it with you guys on here. It's worth doing a video out, and let's think about this. You know, is it a possibility that this could get a next sector that gets a big bid? It's already had it. You know, a lot of these are struggling, a lot of these are running out of money. The froth has gone off it a bit, but it's potential. It's worth keeping an eye on it. I've got a watch list here set up on TradingView. And these will come into my attention if we start to get a rally. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, guys. Any sector, esports is another one which perhaps I'll do a video on that might see some sort of bid, and they've done quite well already. Anything else that you think might become attractive in the future that's worth watching, keeping an eye on? Not necessarily taking a speculative trade now on it, because that's not really my style or strategy, but the earlier you can be prepared for it and say, okay, well, that's starting to get a bid, that's why, and that's this and that. Now I can be prepared. Maybe you can get the first pullback rather than the second or the third. Anyway, guys, take care and keep this managed, whatever you're doing. Love to see what you guys have got to say in the comments. Take care. Bye-bye.